Source: adapted from archaic translation by W.H.D. Rouse. Jataka number 489. Suruchi Jataka. I am, etc. This story the master told while living hard by Shravasti city in the mansion of Migara's mother, how she, Visakha the great lay sister, received 8 boons. One day she had heard the righteous path preached in Jetavana monastery, and returned home after inviting the Buddha with his followers for the next day. But late in that night a mighty tempest deluged the 4 continents of the world. The Lord Buddha addressed the brethren as follows: As the rain falls in Jetavana monastery, so, brethren, falls the rain in the 4 continents of the world. Let yourselves be drenched to the skin. This is my last great world storm. So with the brethren, whose bodies were already drenched, by his supernatural power he disappeared from Jetavana monastery, and appeared in a room of Visakha's mansion. She cried, "A marvel indeed! A thing mysterious! Oh, the miracle done by the power of the Tathagata! With floods running knee-deep, yes, with floods running waist-deep, not so much as the foot or the robe of a single brother will be wet." In joy and delight she waited upon the Buddha and all his company. After the meal was done, she said to the Buddha, "Truly I crave boons at the hands of the Lord Buddha. Visakha, the Tathagatas have boons beyond measure. But sichas are permitted, sichas are blameless. Speak on, Visakha. I crave that all my life long I may have the right to give to the brethren cloaks for the rainy season. Food to all that come as guests, food to traveling monks, food to the sick, food to those who wait on the sick, medicine to the sick, a continual distribution of rice porridge. And to the sisters all my life long robes for bathing in." The master replied, "What blessing have you in view, Visakha, when you ask these 8 boons of the Tathagata?" She told him the benefit she hoped for, and he said, it is well, Visakha, it is well indeed, Visakha, that this is the benefit you hope for in asking the 8 boons of the Tathagata." Then he said, "I grant you the 8 boons, Visakha." Having granted her the 8 boons and thanked her, he departed. One day when the master was living in the Eastern Park, they began to talk of it in the Hall of Truth. Brother, Visakha the great lay sister, notwithstanding her womanhood, received 8 boons at the Dasabala's hands. Ah, great are her virtues! The master came in and asked what they spoke of. They told him. Said he, "It is not now the first time this woman has received boons from me, for she received such before." And he told him a story of the past. Once upon a time, there reigned a king Suruchi in Mithila. This king, having a son born to him, gave him the name of Suruchi Kamara, or Prince Splendid. When he grew up, he determined to study at Taxila. So there he went, and sat down in a hall at the city gate. Now the son of the king of Benares also, whose name was Prince Brahmadatta, went to the same place, and took his seat on the same bench where Prince Suruchi sat. They entered into talk together, and became friends, and went both together to the teacher. They paid the fee, and studied, and before long their education was complete. Then they took leave of their teacher, and went on their road together. After traveling thus a short distance, they came to a stop at a place where the road parted. Then they embraced, and in order to keep their friendship alive, they made a compact together. "If I have a son and you a daughter, or if you have a son and I a daughter, we will make a match of it between them." When they were on the throne, a son was born to King Suruchi, and to him also the name of Prince Suruchi was given. Brahmadatta had a daughter, and her name was Sumedha, the wise lady. Prince Suruchi in due time grew up, went to Taxila for his education, and that finished returned. Then his father, wishing to mark out his son for king by the ceremonial sprinkling, thought to himself, my friend the king of Benares has a daughter, so they say. I will make her my son's wife. For this purpose he sent a person with rich gifts. But before they had yet come, the king of Benares asked his queen this question. Lady, what is the worst misery for a woman? To quarrel with her fellow wives. Then, my lady, to save our only daughter the Princess Sumedha from this misery, we will give her to none but him that will have her and no other. So when the ambassadors came, and named the name of his daughter, he told them, good friends, indeed it is true I promised my daughter to my old friend long ago. But we have no wish to throw her into the midst of a crowd of women, and we will give her only to one who will wed her and no other. This message they brought back to the king. But the king was displeased. Ours is a great kingdom, said he, the city of Mithila covers 7 leagues, the measure of the whole kingdom is 300 leagues. Such a king should have 16,000 women at the least. But Prince Suruchi, hearing the great beauty of Sumedha, fell in love from hearing of it only. So he sent word to his parents, saying, I will take her and no other. What do I want with a lot of women? Let her be brought. They did not stop his desire, but sent a rich present and a great assembly to bring her home. Then she was made his queen wife, and they were both together appointed by anointing. He became King Suruchi, and ruling in justice lived a life of high happiness with his queen. But although she lived in his palace for 10,000 years, never son nor daughter she had of him. Then all the townsfolk gathered together in the palace courtyard for advice. What is it? The king asked. Fault we have no other to find, said they, but this, that you have no son to keep up your line. You have but one queen, yet a royal prince should have 16,000 at the least. Choose a company of women, my lord. Some worthy wife will bring you a son. Dear friends, what is this you say? I passed my word I would take no other but one, and on those terms I got her. I cannot lie, no assemblage of women for me. So he refused their request, and they departed. But Sumedha heard what was said. The king refuses to choose him concubines for his truth's sake, thought she. Well, I will find him someone. Playing the part of mother and wife to the king. She chose at her own will 1,000 girls of the warrior caste. 1,000 of the courtiers, 1,000 daughters of householders, 1,000 of all kinds of dancing girls, 4,000 in all, and delivered them to him. And all these lived in the palace for 10,000 years, and never a son or daughter they brought between them. In this way she 3 times brought 4,000 girls, but they had neither son nor daughter. Thus she brought him 16,000 wives in all. 40,000 years went by, that is to say, 50,000 in all, counting the 10,000 he had lived with her alone. Then the townsfolk again gathered together with rebukes. What is it now? The king asked. My lord, command your women to pray for a son. The king was not unwilling, and commanded so to pray. From then praying for a son, they worship all manner of deities and offer all kinds of vows. Yet no son appeared. Then the king commanded Sumedha to pray for a son. She consented. On the fast of the 15th day of the month, she took upon her the 8 times fasting day vows, and sat meditating upon the virtues in a magnificent room upon a pleasant couch. The others were in the park, vowing to do sacrifice with goats or cows. By the glory of Sumedha's virtue Sakka's living place began to tremble. Sakka thought, and understood that Sumedha prayed for a son. Well, she should have one. But I cannot give her this or that son indifferently. I will search for one which shall be suitable. Then he saw a young god called Nalakara, the basket weaver. He was a being gifted with merit, who in a former life lived in Benares, when this fall upon him. At seed time, as he was on his way to the fields, he perceived a Parchaka Buddha. He sent on his hinds, asking them sow the seed, but himself turned back, and led the Parchaka Buddha home, and gave him to eat, and then conducted him again to the Ganges bank. He and his son together made a hut, trunks of fig trees for the foundation and reeds interwoven for the walls. A door he put to it, and made a path for walking. There for 3 months he made the Parchaka Buddha dwell. And after the rains were over, the two of them, father and son, put on him the 3 robes and let him go. In the same manner they entertained 7 Parchaka Buddhas in that hut, and gave them the 3 robes, and let them go their ways. So men still tell how these two, father and son, turned basket weavers, and hunted for osiers on the banks of the Ganges, and whenever they saw a Parchaka Buddha did as we have said. When they died, they were born in the heaven of the 33, and lived in the 6 heavens of sense one after the other in direct and in reverse succession, enjoying great majesty among the gods. These two, after dying in that region, were desirous of winning to the upper god world. Sakka, perceiving that one of them would be the Tathagata, went to the door of their mansion, and saluting him as he arose and came to meet him, said, "Sir, you must go into the world of men." But he said, "O king, the world of men is hateful and hateful. They who dwell there do good and give alms, longing for the world of the gods. What shall I do when I get there? Sir, you shall enjoy in perfection all that can be enjoyed in that world. You shall dwell in a palace made with stones of price, 25 leagues in height. Do consent." He consented. When Sakka had received his promise, in the guise of a sage he descended into the king's park, and showed himself soaring above those women to and fro in the air, while he chanted, "To whom shall I give the blessing of a son, who craves the blessing of a son? To me, sir, to me." Thousands of hands were uplifted. Then he said, "I give sons to the virtuous. What is your virtue? What your life and conversation?" They brought down their uplifted hands, saying, "If you would reward virtue, go seek Sumedha." He went his ways through the air, and stayed at the window of her bedchamber. Then they went and told her, saying, "See, my lady, a king of the gods has come down through the air, and stands at your bedchamber window, offering you the boon of a son." With great pomp she proceeded there, and opening the window, said, "Is this true, sir, that I hear, how you offer the blessing of a son to a virtuous woman?" "It is, and sir, I do." "Then grant it to me. What is your virtue? Tell me. And if you please me, I grant you the boon." Then stating her virtue she recited these 15 stanzas. "I am King Ruchi's wife queen, the first he ever wed. With Suruchi 10,000 years my wedded life I led. Suruchi king of Mithila, Vidya's highest place, I never lightly held his wish, nor deemed him mean or lowly, in deed or thought or word, behind his back, nor to his face. If this be true, O Holy One, so may that son be given. But if my lips are speaking lies, then burst my head in 7. The parents of my husband dear, so long as they held sway, and while they lived, would ever give me training in the way. My passion was to hurt no life, and willingly do right. I served them with extremest care unwearied day and night. If this be true, etc. No less than 16,000 ladies my fellow wives have been. Yet, Brahman, never jealousy nor anger came between. At their good fortune I rejoice. Each one of them is dear. My heart is soft to all these wives as though myself it were. If this be true, etc. Slaves, messengers, and servants all, and all about the place, I give them food, I treat them well, with cheerful pleasant face. If this be true, etc. Ascetics, Brahmins, any man who begging here is seen, I comfort all with food and drink, my hands all washed clean. If this be true, etc. The 8th of either fortnight, the 14th, 15th days, and the especial fast I keep, I walk in holy ways. If this be true, O Holy One, so may that son be given. But if my lips are speaking lies, then burst my head in 7. Indeed not 100 verses, nor 1,000, could suffice to sing the praise of her virtues. Yet Sakka allowed her to sing her own praises in these 15 stanzas, nor did he cut the tale short though he had much to do elsewhere. Then he said, abundant and marvelous are your virtues. Then in her praise he recited a couple of stanzas. All these great virtues, glorious lady, O daughter of a king, are found in you, which of yourself, O lady, you do sing. A warrior, born of noble blood, all glorious and wise, Vidya's righteous emperor, your son, shall soon arise. When these words she heard, in great joy she recited 2 stanzas, putting a question to him. Unkempt, with dust and dirt grimed, high-poised in the sky, you speak in a lovely voice that pricks me to the heart. Are you a mighty God, O sage, and dwellst in heaven on high? O tell me from where you are coming here, O tell me who you are. He told her in 6 stanzas. Sakka the 100-eyed you do see, for so the gods me call when they are accustomed to assemble in the heavenly judgment hall. When women virtuous, wise, and good here in the world are found, true wives, to husbands mother kind even as in duty bound, when such a woman wise of heart and good indeed they know, to her, though woman, they divine, the gods themselves will go. So lady, you, through worthy life, through store of good deeds done, a princess born, all happiness the heart can wish, have won. So you do reap your deeds, princess, by glory on the earth, and after in the world of gods a new and heavenly birth. O wise, O blessed, so live on, preserve your conduct right. Now I to heaven must return, delighted with your sight. I have business to do in the world of gods, said he, therefore I go. But do you be vigilant. With this advice he departed. In the morning time, the god Nalakara was conceived within her womb. When she discovered it, she told the king, and he did what was necessary for a woman with child. At the end of 10 months she brought on a son, and they gave him Mahapanada to his name. All the people of the 2 countries came crying out, My lord, we bring this for the boy's milk money, and each dropped a coin in the king's courtyard. A great heap there was of them. The king did not wish to accept this, but they would not take the money back, but said as they departed, When the boy grows up, my lord, it will pay for his keep. The boy was brought up amid great magnificence, and when he came of years, so as, no more than 16, he was perfect in all accomplishments. The king, thinking of his son's age, said to the queen, My lady, when the time comes for the ceremonial sprinkling of our son, let us make him a fine palace for that occasion. She was quite willing. The king sent for those who had skill in divining the lucky place for a building, and said to them, My friends, get a master mason, and build me a palace not far from my own. This is for my son, whom we are about to appoint as my successor. They said it was well, and proceeded to examine the surface of the ground. At that moment Sakka's throne became hot. Perceiving this, he at once summoned Vishwakarma, and said, "Go, my good Vishwakarma, make for Prince Mahapanada a palace 1/2 a league in length and breadth and 25 leagues in height, all with stones of price." Vishwakarma took on the shape of a mason, and approaching the workman said, "Go and eat your breakfast, then return." Having thus got rid of the men, he struck on the earth with his staff. In that instant up rose a palace, 7 stories high, of the aforesaid size. Now for Mahapanada these 3 ceremonies were done together. The ceremony for the palace, the ceremony for spreading above him the royal umbrella, the ceremony of his marriage. At the time of the ceremony all the people of both countries gathered together, and spent 7 years in feasting, nor did the king dismiss them. Their clothes, their ornaments, their food and their drink and all the rest of it, these things were all provided by the royal family. At the 7 years' end they began to grumble, and King Suruchi asked why. "O king," they said, "while we have been reveling at this feast 7 years have gone by. When will the feast come to an end?" He answered, "My good friends, all this while my son has never once laughed. So soon as he shall laugh, we will disperse again." Then the crowd went beating the drum and gathered the tumblers and jugglers together. Thousands of tumblers were gathered, and they divided themselves into 7 bands and danced. But they could not make the prince laugh. Of course he that had seen the dancing of dancers divine could not care for such dances as these. Then came 2 clever jugglers, Bandukana and Pandukana, Crop Ear and Yellow Ear, and say they, "We will make the prince laugh." Bandukana made a great mango tree, which he called Sanspare, grow before the palace door. Then he threw up a ball of string, and made it catch on a branch of the tree, and then up he climbed into the mango Sanspare. Now the mango Sanspare, they say, is Vesavana's mango. And the slaves of Vesavana took him, as usual, chopped him up limb meal and threw down the bits. The other jugglers joined the pieces together, and poured water upon them. The man wore upper and under garments of flowers, and rose up and began dancing again. Even the sight of this did not make the prince laugh. Then Pandukana had some firewood piled in the courtyard and went into the fire with his troop. When the fire was burnt out, the people sprinkled the pile with water. Pandukana with his troop rose up dancing with upper and under garments of flowers. When the people found they could not make him laugh, they grew angry. Sakka, perceiving this, sent down a divine dancer, asking him make Prince Mahapanada laugh. Then he came and remained poised in the air above the royal courtyard, and performed what is called the half-body dance. 1 hand, 1 foot, 1 eye, 1 tooth, go for dancing, throbbing, flickering to and fro, all the rest stone still. Mahapanada, when he saw this, gave a little smile. But the crowd roared and roared with laughter, could not cease laughing, laughed themselves out of their wits, lost control of their limbs, rolled over and over in the royal courtyard. That was the end of the festival. The rest of it, great Panada, mighty king, with his palace all of gold, must be explained in the Mahapanada birth. King Mahapanada did good and gave alms, and at his life's end went to the world of gods. When the master had ended this discourse, he said, "Thus, brethren, Visakha has received a boon of me before," and then he identified the birth. At that time, Badaji was Mahapanada, Visakha the lady Sumedha, Ananda was Vishwakarma, and I myself was Sakka.